The biggest battery deal in history was not for lithium. The company that builds more batteries than anyone else on Earth ordered 60 gigawatt-hours of sodium-ion, the element inside your salt shaker. And the first car using it is already driving through Inner Mongolia at 40 below. This is the same technology the industry called a dead end just 2 years ago. By the time this video ends, you will understand how a material puzzle that stumped researchers for more decades finally cracked open. And you will see why this one signature changes the math for every battery on Earth. Right now, as you watch this, there's a lithium battery within arm's reach of you. That means your phone, your laptop, maybe the car in your driveway, or the scooter outside. Lithium-ion cells are woven so tightly into modern life that almost nobody stops to think about them anymore, because you expect the phone to charge overnight, the laptop to survive the meeting, and the car to reach the destination without a music second thought. For 30 years, lithium delivered on that expectation so dependably that the world simply stopped asking whether something better could even exist. Exactly how a single chemistry took over the entire planet without anyone demanding a backup plan. Before lithium took over, devices ran on nickel-cadmium cells that were heavy, bulky, and held a fraction of what lithium could store. The jump to lithium-ion in the early 90s wasn't a tweak. It was a complete reinvention of what a battery could even be, because energy density roughly tripled overnight and devices became smaller and lighter all at once. The smartphone in your hand simply doesn't exist without that leap, and neither does the modern laptop, the wireless earbud, or the music electric vehicle. The scale of that shift is hard to feel today, because you live inside the result. In 1991, a camcorder battery lasted about an hour, and by the 2000s, the same weight of lithium kept a phone alive for days. By the 2010s, it was carrying cars hundreds of kilometers down the highway, and every new generation demanded more from the same chemistry, while lithium kept finding ways to answer. Here's why it works so well. Inside any battery, you have two ends, a positive and a negative, with a liquid between them that carries charged particles back and forth. Charging pushes those particles from one side to the other and parks them there, and using the battery, sends them back to create the electricity that powers your device. In a lithium cell, those charged particles are tiny because lithium is one of the lightest elements on the periodic table, which means you can cram more of them into a very small space. More particles means more energy for the same weight. And lithium also carries one of the strongest natural pushes to drive current through, means more power per cell without building anything bigger. And together, those two advantages gave a chemistry that nothing on Earth could threaten for 30 years. But here is the quiet danger of something that works beautifully for a very long time. People stop looking for alternatives. They stop funding the competition, and the cracks in the foundation tend to widen in silence until the day they cannot be ignored. In 2016, Samsung shipped the Galaxy Note 7. The reviews were glowing, the pre-orders were strong, and then within weeks, the phones started catching fire. They ignited in pockets, on planes, and on nightstands while their owners slept. Airlines banned the device outright. Samsung pulled the entire product line at a cost of around $5 billion, and the Note 7 became one of the most infamous failures in consumer electronics history. But here is what most people missed entirely. This wasn't really a Samsung engineering story. Samsung made specific design mistakes, but the underlying dangers sat quietly inside every lithium battery ever built. The liquid inside a lithium cell that carries those charged particles is made from organic solvents, and organic solvents are flammable by nature. The materials that move lithium particles most efficiently happen to be the very same materials that burn, overheat a battery, puncture it, or overcharge it, as a liquid can ignite. Once a single cell catches, the heat it music throws raises the temperature of every cell beside it until they ignite, too. That is a chain reaction, spreading from cell to cell like dominoes tipping inside a sealed box. The scale of this today is genuinely unsettling. Right now in New York City, lithium battery fires have overtaken electrical fires as a leading cause of fatal fires in the entire city. This is not a statistic from a decade ago. It is the reality in 2026. Between 2022 and 2025, the FDNY logged more than 800 lithium-ion battery fires, 30 deaths, and over 400 injuries. That is not an opinion. That music is the data. Then comes the cold weather problem. In freezing temperatures, the charged particles inside a lithium battery stop sliding smoothly and instead begin depositing themselves on the inner surface as tiny, jagged metallic spikes. Those spikes can grow across repeated charge cycles until they bridge the two ends of the battery and trigger an internal short circuit. That short generates heat fast, and heat inside a lithium battery rarely ends well. Even when those spikes never short the cell, the cold itself takes a brutal toll. At freezing point, a lithium battery loses somewhere between 20 and 40% of its driving range. Nothing is broken. It is simply cold outside. For someone in Canada or Scandinavia, that can mean losing 100 kilometers of range on the morning they need it most. Engineers knew all of this. They worked around it with smarter cooling and cleverer software, but the core chemistry never changed. And the reason it never changed has almost nothing to do with science. It is a supply chain built on thin ice. 3 countries, Australia, Chile, and China, control around 90% of the world's mined lithium. China alone refines roughly 65% of that raw lithium into battery-grade material and builds around 75% of every lithium-ion battery on Earth. That means most of the planet's electric cars, phones, and storage systems depend on a supply chain funneled through a tiny number of points on the map. And the consequences of that concentration arrived faster than anyone predicted. Between 2020 and 2022, the price of the key lithium raw material rose by a factor of 8, not 8%, 8 times more expensive in 2 years. Electric vehicle demand was exploding. Battery factories were scaling faster than anyone planned for. And lithium supply simply could not keep up. Then in 2023, the market lurched the other way, and lithium prices collapsed by more than 70% in a single year. Companies that had locked in long-term contracts at the peak were suddenly paying far above the market rate. The entire industry was running multi-year plans against a commodity that swung like a meme stock, and it was unpredictable and completely outside their control. For governments chasing energy independence, and for car makers trying to hit prices that would put electric vehicles in reach of ordinary buyers, this was a strategic vulnerability at the foundation.
This is the largest, most heavily capitalized, most patent-dense battery development organization in the history of electric vehicles. And on April 21, they showed what 100 billion yuan and 60,000 patents buy you when it all lands at once. Here is the number that should stop you before we go any further. 6 minutes and 27 seconds. That is how long it takes CATL's third-generation Shengsing battery to charge from 10% to 98% of its total capacity. Not 80%, 98% in 6 minutes and 27 seconds. And at minus 30 degrees Celsius, the kind of cold that kills most existing EV batteries,